All right, so here we are inside of the church building, and the first thing I wanted to point out is that we need new exterior doors. These are actually broken. The glass inside there could be fixed, but these doors are the original doors that were put in, and the mechanisms here that lock this door in place have broken inside, and so we just kind of rigged it up to where it would stay. There's cold air blowing through right now, so best case scenario is just replace that. Now, as far as the floor is concerned, we're going to tear all the carpet up, and we are putting in a vinyl, and we've already got a crew that has expressed that they want to do that the first week in May. And so they're going to come in and do this entire floor in the first week of May. And then aside from that, and then we'll cover the floor because we're going to have several things that we need to do inside here as well. So this is the entryway. There are some things we need to replace in here. The lighting. As you can see, these are the base heaters that I mentioned before that are no longer in working order. So right now, if there's no way that we can get these things working again with a new boiler, then we're just going to have to remove those. So that's something that a crew could do as well. And it's pretty much the same thing everywhere we look. We've got to remove the flooring, put down new flooring, and then of course painting and just general updating. We've got some drywall issues that we need to fix. One of the things I want to point out is the pews. We need all the pews prepped for painting, and then we're going to paint all the pews white. The carpet will be gone, as I mentioned before, and we're going to have that. It's a wood-based laminate that's going to go on the floor, kind of that tongue and groove locking mechanism type stuff, and that'll add an extra layer. It'll have some underlayment under that will help insulate as well from all the noise downstairs when there's tromping going on up here. We do want to put in new light fixtures. We need to replace these ceiling fans. We're going to do a Amazon wish list where we will list some things that we need for us when we don't have crews here and we just need to work. Then if that's something that somebody wants to help out with, then they can pitch in and buy that and just have it delivered to us or whatever via Amazon. But as I said, the fixtures we can choose on Amazon. And if somebody says, hey, I'll buy a light fixture, then they can just buy it on Amazon and have it delivered, and we'll just stockpile it until the crews come and can help install everything. So if we move up here, all the trim in here is going to need to be painted. We want to paint the walls again. We are talking about doing some wainscoting. What needs to happen in this room is basically a complete remodel. It needs to be severed from kind of who they were as the past, and in the minds of the community here, they need to understand, or at least have the perception that this is a completely different church that's starting, and it actually is. So God has blessed us with this facility, one which I have a great deal of affection for, nostalgia, if you will, because I watched this thing go up brick by brick, board by board when I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. I had a part in, as little as I did at that age, but it was still something that meant so much to me. And seeing it completed was really a major part of my upbringing spiritually as a kid, just seeing God do something incredible. When the process was over in about 3.5, 4 years, this whole building was built debt-free. And it was debt-free because crews, just like you and the crew that hopefully you're going to bring, they raised the money or they bought the materials, they brought the manpower, they came up and stayed a week, some stayed 2 weeks, and they brought in, finished a project, it was paid for and everything. And, I'm not one to, I'm uncomfortable asking for money or anything else. But the bottom line is, guys, this is the mission field. and we just can't do it without help. There are a lot of churches that, when considering what Jesus said in the Great Commission, Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the uttermost parts of the world, they get the local Jerusalem thing right. They get the uttermost parts of the world right. And even some regional stuff, maybe right around the church locally. But I think, man, places like this in Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, parts of Colorado, these areas are starving for God's word, for the gospel to be proclaimed. And most of the pastors here in Wyoming are bivocational, where they're having to work a full-time job and pastor at the same time. And I just see, such an opportunity for churches in the South to get involved with that, not quite Jerusalem or Judea, but in like Samaria, not quite the uttermost parts of the world, but in the area that in the United States, areas where there is desperate need for the gospel to be proclaimed and for people to get involved. And that's what this is all about. So we're talking a lot about remodeling and all this kind of stuff, but you have to understand that this place has a past, and there are certain perceptions in the community about this place. And so that's why we need a clean break, and we need to come in, remodel, update, and in the minds of the folks here in the community, they will see that this is a brand new church, a brand new thing. And I think that's going to excite a lot of people and hopefully even draw people in as we're going to put as much effort as we possibly can into the worship music and in the proclamation of God's word with expository preaching and all of that. So that was a little rabbit trail that I chased, but I wanted to explain why we want to do a lot of this stuff. So I would like to come up with a different solution instead of TVs on the wall, even considering potentially widening that window up there and maybe doing a projector up there. So the painting will go away, and we want that to be more functional. And then, of course, as I said, new lighting up here, new ceiling fans, new recessed lighting here. Some of this stuff is very old. Repainting and such here. We want to put in sort of like an area where there's a place to come and kneel and pray up here at the front. And that's going to be important as well. And all of this needs to tie together aesthetically to just be beautiful and do honor and give glory to the Lord as we build a beautiful house of worship for people to come with their families and feel at home and feel cozy and warm, and a place where they can connect with other believers in the area. And it'll just feel homey, comfortable, and a family environment. That's what we want. And we want it all to bring glory to the Lord.